You have the pictures, you just need
I forgot to do that.
See, all the nuts around, it just draws them in.
You don't look very hot to me.
So we should say proposed resolution. Thank you for that.
He was
Yeah.
bragging earlier on an email. I'm hot. I'm hot. Oh, maybe I misread it.
I didn't send that till yesterday.
I didn't sign that.
Here's this.
No, I
Well,
know.
I didn't get the email from Chris Bryant to file this. And I just happened to have nothing on my schedule, so I was like,
Are you ready, boss?
Mics are hot.
And
Yeah.
George?
truer words have not been spoken. I'll call a meeting at 6:31. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Willis?
Yep.
Ms. Winchester?
Here.
Mr. Stillwell?
Here.
Ms. Miller here? And Mr. Johnson?
Here.
Okay. Agenda approval, before I move that, I want to add under new business number 4, where it says new ambulance purchase request, just add 2026-03 as a resolution.
Proposed resolution 20.
Or proposed.
2026-03,
Oh, 02.
02.
No,
It is 03.
no, 03.
It says 03 on it.
Yep. It is.
Okay.
And then, well, and amendments, no, hang on, what's the other? And under 3, the 2026 proposed EMS fee schedule should say proposed resolution 2026-02.
Oh. So Chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Winchester, support by Stillwell. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now we go to the consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial, and they do not require discussion by the board and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion. If discussion is desired on an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will automatically be moved to the last item under new business. I want to pull the minutes for January. We have a concern that we might have some information backwards. With Diane not being here tonight, that will give us a chance to check that and make sure we've got it right. I'm leaving, I also want to pull the bills for payment and put those down under new business number 6. And then under the communications, just so you know, I did cover with Matt, he's going to talk about those in his report, so I won't pull those.
So number 6 is minutes and bills for payment?
Well, minutes
Hold.
are pulled. Do we have to put them down there? They're just going to be held until the next meeting, so we can clear that one. Without Diane here, we can't do
Right,
the
then they
minutes.
should go down into new business if you're pulling them,
Okay. then-
right, or no?
Yes.
Well, there'll be
No
no
action.
action
Yes,
taken.
Okay.
you're
And
correct.
that-
You should put it,
Yeah.
are you getting number 6?
6 for minutes and 7 for bills for payment.
Okay, so Chair will entertain a a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended.
I would make that motion.
Winchester Johnson for support. Call, please.
Mr. Ellis?
Yes.
Ms. Winchester?
Yes.
Mr. Stillwell?
Yes.
Ms. Mallory, yes. And Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. That will take us to public comment on agenda items only. Members of the public may address the board once recognized by the chair. Comments are limited to 3 minutes. Prior to addressing the board, members of the public shall state their name and address for the record. A second public comment is available prior to the adjournment of the meeting for all other comments. Thank you for your cooperation. Anyone for public comment? Wow, we have a full house and nobody. Okay.
Where's Julius?
Yeah.
He's not coming tonight.
All right, we don't have any presentations, we don't have any unfinished business. That'll take us to new business. Amendments to the accounting administrative policies and procedures manual. Chief, is that one yours?
Kind of. When Mr. Polka made our audit presentation last month, we brought a few things to the forefront that needed to be amended. Such as our capitalization dollar amount, 5,000, and we suggested we bump it to 10, as the board had suggested, or I guess agreed on consensus. And then, since we had this document out, Jeremy went through and fixed some typographical errors, some tense errors, grammatical errors in here. And I guess we never caught this up either with the decision the board made to put the $10,000 mark for my action. So those changes have been made here as well. So this really reflects a couple years of neglect that have happened. And when I talked to Jeremy about it, he was like, oh yeah, we really forgot to do all of that. So that gets us caught up.
Can I take you to page 9? Payroll. This is, 6 is payroll number 3. Authority payroll is processed on a semi-weekly basis.
Yes.
Okay. And they've taken that whole section of pay period begin out.
Yeah, we used to do the first and third and a bunch of other things. We have been doing for something bi-weekly. Payroll. Couple, 3 years. Yeah, how long's it been? Yeah, so.
Pretty much since 2021.
Yeah, it's nothing new. So, again, this is just something that we're just trying to get caught up and, reflect our practice.
So on page 2, the data backup, do you do off-site data backup as well?
So the cool thing is, yes, we do.
Okay.
A couple different ways. So we are using QuickBooks Cloud, so that backs everything up to the cloud. Prior to that, we had QuickBooks on a server in-house, and through DC3, we had weekly, hourly, backups through them. So yes,
What about all your files?
which ones?
Like
Personnel files.
personnel,
all that.
yeah, files.
So that's a combination as well. We have, for example, our LMS that we talked about a little bit lately, that is through a vendor that information is backed up on. When you look at our incident reporting system, same thing, it's all cloud-based. When you get into some of our hard copies of things at home, we used to keep a file with all our receipts. We don't do that anymore. I have a scanner on my desk. I scan every receipt in and review it. So that goes to our in-house server, and then that is backed up not only on the by PC3, but a copy of that receipt also goes into QuickBooks, so there's like triple redundancy with a lot of that. I would say it's both.
Are there any questions on accounting administrative policies and procedures?
Yeah, I just started.
Oh. Okay.
So we're on page 3.
So, page 3. So is the administrative staff doing payroll, or do we have a third-party payroll company doing the payroll?
So the answer is yes to all of these things. So this is where things get difficult, and not that it's difficult in that sense. We use a third party to do our paychecks, okay? So we provide them with the numbers. So Smith worked 58 hours and he's got 20 hours overtime. Paychecks handles that. They cut the check, they do the taxes, they take the stuff and things out, they debit our account, right? So that's what they do. To get to that point, so Jeremy is the one that does most of that. But there's a couple of steps. To get to that point. We pay pretty much off of our scheduling software, which Tim goes through and, make sure the schedule is right, to make sure that, if Smith says he worked 28 hours, we approve whether to do so. That information comes to the end of the pay period. Jeremy takes that, transmogrifies it into a spreadsheet, numbers, goes off the paychecks, the check gets cut, Smith gets paid. So that's why I say the answer is yes. It's not a very simple process.
Didn't we talk about specialized companies that do,
We did.
okay, what's the
So-
status of that?
So we did not proceed with that. Some of the changes that I requested Jeremy to make in the payroll process so that these guys here could understand the paycheck. I could understand my paycheck. Mine's pretty simple. I get paid the same every week, or every time I get a check. He made those changes and it satisfied us at the moment. So it's still an option. It's just not one that we've continued to pursue.
So, but we can hire Ecto for the purpose of,
That has nothing to do with payroll.
it's separate.
Yes, very much.
So page 4 on 10, says the fire chief or designated administrative staff delivers deposits to the bank.
Correct.
But then on 15, designee to verify against the deposits listed on the bank statement.
Okay.
Who's a designee?
So Jeremy and
So maybe we want to title that instead of say designee, there should be a title to that,
Could, I don't know that Pam has an official title.
bookkeeper. I would
Yeah.
assume in other areas in here was bookkeeper or administrative person. A designee is,
Whoever it is.
Could I interrupt? You are coming to me. And you don't have a microphone. Do you think you could sit next to Dan so I can pick you up on the microphone? You promise you won't play. Please, I'm sorry to bother you, sorry to move you, but, well, that way it comes through on the
Either that or
recording.
we can just make you stand at the podium.
If you'd like me to do that, I will.
If you wish, yeah, either way.
It's up to you.
I just can't, you're not
Don't
coming
bite.
through on the recorder at all.
Too tired to fight. Good. Okay.
just thinking, well, that's, I was just,
Oh,
Okay.
I mean, it should be consistent, I think.
All right, can we do that in Rev 2?
Yes.
Okay.
And then on 12, it says the bank statements will be opened by the secretary or other administrative staff. Who's the secretary?
Duly noted. Would that be Debbie?
Well, yeah, but, right, but that's for minutes.
she's secretary of the board.
board.
Right, but
Shouldn't that be the bookkeeper?
if one of them, if you're trying to segregate duties, you have to like find who internally, because that doesn't make sense that you would have to go and get a board member to open bank statements.
Karen, I agree 100% with you, and this document is,
Right, if we're going to do
Well,
it, we
that's
might
why
as
we're
well
trying to
go
fix it.
through
No,
it.
and this has been a bone of contention between Jeremy and I for a while.
Mhm.
I never knew this existed, and then it got thrown in front of me that this is, here you go. I had to do this for grant work, and then it just got, put in a drawer, and then now I'm held responsible to it. And it's like, I don't even know what this is.
Right.
So maybe the best thing to do is to go through this again.
Mhm.
And have you guys put your red line changes in?
I just with my pen.
That's fine.
No, he's asking us, approve what we have for tonight, and then go through it again with red line changes.
That would be an option.
It just,
I mean,
it
it's-
sounds like you're gonna have a lot.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And maybe it would be better, Karen, if you and I sat down with this
Mhm.
and then brought this back next
Okay.
month. This isn't something we have to do.
No, but I think if we approve what we have tonight, it cleans it up a little more. Then you can sit down for yet another one.
However you'd like to do it, yeah.
Because we've got quite a lot of red line changes.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that the auditor may want to look at a couple of these things, and maybe the attorney as well.
I agree.
Okay. I just want to make sure there's nothing that I feel can't.
So can we this evening approve what we have in front of us for the changes? At which point you can send it, I would send it to the auditor first.
They're
Well, we
supposed
should
to.
we should make proposed changes before we send them, so that they're not spending time making our changes. Like, even like the retention schedule, you guys call it out, but you really have to follow the Michigan, state of Michigan retention schedule.
So the auditors were supposed to have already looked over this.
Oh. Okay.
Oh. Then I guess we would
Okay,
make
well,
our
then that's-
changes
Right.
and then send it to them.
Yeah, and that's
I
where,
didn't realize they had already
Yeah,
sent
why
it.
don't we postpone this and just go over it?
they were the ones,
Let-
Is there a
let them to
reason?
At least allow them to clean it up at this stage, because you got a lot of red letter stuff in here that can be fixed.
Yeah, let's just bring it back next month and approve it.
because these were the auditor's recommendations. So they've looked at the documents and said, you
Okay.
need to adjust your capitalization schedule and,
Oh, that's right, that makes
right,
sense.
that's where all
right.
that came
Yeah,
from. So
okay.
the rest of this was, the red lines in here were just things Jeremy went through here and picked as nits. To the, or however, that were just typos and grammaticals.
I think
in
that,
the numbers.
yeah, I think that would make it easier if we just adopted those tonight,
Okay.
and then
Then you have a
started
clean
all
copy
over,
of
then we have a
over.
clean,
Yeah.
not adding all those extras.
So the biggest changes were the grammaticals,
Mhm.
and then the 5,000s to 10,000.
Right.
In the appropriate places. I mean, I skimmed through this pretty quickly. I didn't go through it, letter by letter, line by line. Again, that's what we have Jeremy.
Well, there are currently changes on almost every page.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, if we approve what's here, then you make the changes, clean the copy.
Yep.
And then
Start
we
fresh.
can, and we can do, right,
Otherwise, you're gonna be making changes on top of changes.
right.
It gets confusing.
That's real clear what we have.
Right.
So the chair will entertain a motion to approve the Norfolk County Fire Authority Accounting and Administrative Policies and Procedures Manual as presented, with the understanding that it would go through a second review afterwards.
So moved.
Motion by Winchester,
Forward.
support by Johnson. Any further discussion? Not appearing, we can do this on a voice vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we will go to number 2, mutual aid statistics.
Just want to make a, yes, I'd like to make a note here real quick. Okay. All right, so last month, we had quite a bit of discussion around mutual aid and trying to understand what it is we do, where we go, and that kind of morphed into some of the billing practices, and can we generate a report on how much Holly Township, and Rose Township, and other townships that we responded to bring in on our cost recovery. So the day after the meeting, I received an email, which is attached in here, from Ryan Cohey. So Ryan is the quality assurance supervisor in dispatch. He watched our meeting. He saw the banter back and forth about, where do we stack up? Where does Nocfa stack up across the region with mutual aid responses? Are we high? Are we low? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't asked anybody. Well, he did the work for me. I had in my inbox the next morning some raw data that highlighted the total calls for service that the sheriff's office dispatches for 18 departments. So across 18 agencies that are dispatched, there's 47,924 calls for service last year. 47,924 calls for service across 18 agencies. And the total mutual aid calls of those 47,000, we'll just call it 48,000, was 1,280. So that's, again, across 18 different departments. Out of that total, 1,280 of those were mutual aid. So that's 2.6% if you take the aggregated numbers. So when you start breaking this down and you look at Nocfa, we had 1,517 calls for service last year, and we had 196 mutual aid calls, so that's 12.9%. So to answer the board's question, we run a lot of mutual aid. We are high, that number. And comparing it to Holly Village, they were 1,138 calls. They had 36 total mutual aid runs, 3.1%. Groveland was 1,146 total calls. They had 94 mutual aid runs for 8.2%. Springfield was 1,531 calls, and they had 126 mutual aid runs for 8.2%. Highland, 1,884 calls for service, and they had 55 mutual aid calls for 2.9%. So when you break it down even further, Nocfa is providing quite a bit of support outside of our boundaries. So, as I took...
I think it's also important to note, when you look at this, the numbers for Nocfa, Springfield, and Groveland. Springfield and Groveland are 8%, Nocfa's at 12%. Those numbers are much higher than the village of Holly and Highland, and part of that is due to the fact that the other three departments handle I-75. Yes.
So looking at...
Everybody's pointing out the rule there.
Yeah, there's an alarm going off. I think somebody's got low sugar. 'Cause you have at least that's what it sounds like when my dad's sugar alarm goes off.
Is that your going off? Who goes down?
Good job, good job.
Everybody knew.
You guys can hear.
We have an
over there,
ambulance
we
or
don't
two
hear
outside.
So, I'm sorry, I squirreled off.
That's okay, I just saw everybody pointing.
Well, we're tuned into that sound. We hear that normally. It's high or low, so. Anyway, so your question, I'm sorry, I lost it.
Sorry.
I-75.
Yes, so when you look at what the county provided us, Springfield and Groveland and us, we all respond at times together on the expressway. We've talked about us and Groveland. We have a mutual agreement. We have a dual response. We try to parse those or weed those calls out because they're really not mutual aid calls. I don't consider them mutual aid. I don't know if Chief Williams does or not. Mutual aid is when you need help. So you have a fire or you don't have a vehicle available, an ambulance, you call in another department to help you, either in lieu of, in aid of, or, some other reason. So when you look at the Groveland and the Springfield numbers, you start dropping like 42 of them out for Groveland and 34-ish out for Springfield, and that brings their numbers down to actually 5.4 and 3.6%, respectively, Groveland and Springfield. So, again, when you look at that, we're carrying a lot of weight across the northwest corner of the county.
But why exactly is that?
I wish I could answer that. To me, looking at it, there's a couple of things there. One, when you look at Highland, okay, when they have a fire, we are on their full alarm. So a full alarm is your initial response to an incident, whether it's a trash can fire or smoke in a residence. They are calling on us to send an engine and/or an ALS unit to help them. When you look at the Village of Holly numbers, not every, that's the wrong thing to say. Many of their second medicals that come in, or stacked calls, we are going out the door to cover that because they don't have the staff to do it. And another example. Well, they've got to staff a second truck, and if they can't do that, we're their second truck, we're the staffing solution. Another example was just Monday. The village had a commercial structure fire right behind the police station. And they responded with their 3 people in-house. We dumped, our place was 7, and we still had a couple people at Station 3 that were covering us. So, we're used to make numbers up, and we do the same, right? When we have a structure fire, we call Groveland, we call the village, we call Highland, and they come in and do that. So that's the best answer I can really give you.
So out of all of ours, 196, do you have who those go to?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, all right. When you look at on the sheet here. So when you look at how this breaks down, Groveland had 82, Holly Village had 68, Springfield was 54. So that's the breakdown. And then I've got another sheet in here as well that has the blue bars on it, which is breaks down as well by month the municipality that we're going to. This one here. So I just broke it down.
Confused.
There's a lot of information here.
I must have left some on my desk.
Oh, dear. So this page here,
Oh, yeah, I do.
yeah. So, so looking at January, for an example, the first chart is by day. So when you look at the day of the month, you can see that on the first day of the month, we went to Groveland once. On the second day, we went to the Highland. On the third day, we went to Springfield twice, went in the village, right? So some of these days, there's 2 or 3 times that we're sending mutual aid out to other departments. And then the next graph down is by agency and the type of aid for 2026 January and 2025 January below it. So there's a little bit of a comparison. This year it was 19 calls that we sent out for mutual aid for January. Last year it was 16. So the numbers are kind of similar. And, the other thing too is I'm going to brag a little bit. When we show up, we do the job. We go in there, we kick butt, we take names, we put the fire out, we respond, we do all of the stuff and things that they expect us to do. And, that has a reputation and that has a desire, and that's something that we routinely do. Highland knows when they call us, we're going to send, 6 or 7 guys. from home, from the stations, et cetera. And, you know, we're there to do one thing, and that's to put the fire out. And they expect that, so. Okay. So with some of this, we had discussion further last month about the billing. So this kind of bridges a couple of, like maybe a little bit into the next topic, but not quite. Mr. Cullis, you requested a report based on area, right? Hollyville, or Holly Township, Rose Township, and so forth. So I had a very lengthy conversation the following day with Jeremy, who does most of our billing work. I asked him to talk to EMSIC, who's our vendor, and so on. So we ran into some issues with the billing software. And I've seen an ambulance bill, and it shows a service address and so forth. And apparently, things aren't tracked by service address. They're tracked by a person and their mailing address. And the long story short is, the way we did things a week and a half ago, no. I can't do that, unfortunately. Well, I shouldn't say I can't. I'm not going to, because we would have to go through every bill by hand and, you know, tabulate all of that, and I think that's just a little too much to put into it.
Sure.
So, going forward, what we did is, at least at this point, we can track three separate categories now. Holly Township resident, Rose Township resident, and then non-resident. So that'll at least give us a little better view of what each township is providing as far as payment back with insurance. So I hope that satisfies the ask. And, you know, we're still going forward to try to get this a little finer yet. So maybe with this ask with our vendor, they can track it by service address, which would help immensely, because then if we're sending an ambulance to Highland, we'll have that Highland mailing address, and we can see what's going on. Okay? So that's what I wanted to follow up on with the mutual aid stuff. And, you know, when I saw those numbers and we're at 12%, I was like, whoa. Okay.
Any further questions from the board? Okay. This doesn't require any action.
Nope, just good discussion.
Then we go to number 3 on new business, 2026 proposed EMS fee schedule, which is resolution 2026-02.
So, one of the things that we look at periodically is what our billing rates are. The vendor that we use, which was Acumed, which is now EMS MC, they kind of keep an eye on this for us and get a hold of us every now and then and say, you guys are not charging enough. Medicaid went up, or Medicare went up, or Blue Cross has a higher whatever. So we go through and we tune these rates up a little bit. And the biggest thing that we want to look at is page 4, and that has what the Medicare allowable billing is. And then what we're looking at is the next column is the current charges for resident and non-resident, and then in the yellow is what we're proposing to change to. So when you look at this, you know, basically what it means is if we have an ALS transport at our new proposed rates, and it's $900, and there's 12.4 miles, that's $210.80 for a total bill of $1,110.80. So when we send that out to insurance, Medicare, because that's our highest payer, Medicare insurance is 52% of our billing that we get back. So when you put that out there, Medicare is going to pay $778.63, and then the patient responsibility is going to be $332. So either that remainder is billed to a secondary insurance, which some folks on Medicare have, or it becomes the patient's responsibility. So that's just how it looks and breaks down for a resident. Okay? The other part of this is to modify our lift assist fees. There was quite a bit of back and forth with Jeremy, Captain Finkbeiner and I about this. We were doing 5 lift assists per calendar year. And when we looked at that, and we look at just runs and how things go and how the runs come in, and we wanted to modify that, excuse me, to 3 lift assists per month. What we find happens on occasion is somebody is recently diagnosed with an illness and they come home, and then there's a barrage of lift assists because they can't care for themselves. So if we get 3 in a month, there's no charge. The 4th one we charge. If we go in and there's not another one for 30 days, the clock resets. And then there would be 3 more for the next month, and the 4th one we would charge. Whereas before, it was 5 per calendar year. So you could exhaust those 5 in a month, and then every one of them for the calendar year, you're getting billed for. So it's just a little better way, I think, to help our residents with high utilization out of the gate, and not make this a penalty across the year. Both Captain Finkbeiner and Jeremy and I, we thought that was a good compromise with what we were doing. There was a suggestion to bill everyone. I would not go for that. So that's where we landed with that.
As I look at the fee schedule, in fact, back to page 4,
Okay?
there's a slight increase for non-residents over residents.
Yes.
By $50 or maybe $100. And then I get down in the bottom half, and there is no difference in fees between residents and
Correct. Correct. So the bottom half of that, let's just go from,
They happen to be items that aren't covered by Medicaid.
well, part of that is true, yes. Like the lift assist, it's $100 no matter what. Now, I will say, let me just back the train up for a second. This 3 per calendar month of lift assist at no charge, that's for our residents, okay? The minute we go out of our border, we're charging. So if we go to Groveland and pick a resident up for a lift assist because they're not available, we're sending a bill.
Does that exist somewhere in this policy? Is it spelled out?
Yes. So back to this, if we get, look at Lucas device on down, those are consumables, and those are just hard costs. So that's why it's the same on each side of that. And the mileage, we could charge $100 a mile if we want, but we're only going to recover $9.33 of it from Medicare. And, we're only going to get whatever an insurance company is willing to pay, whatever their reasonable rate is. So that's why we're at 16, or why we were at 16 and why we're at 17 now. I mean, I can remember when it used to be like $6 and $7 a mile. So. Okay.
Just a quick question, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Previous meetings. Resident billing.
Yes.
They don't pay, we don't go after them, correct?
No, that's not correct. So, and this is where I personally have some consternation, and I have to put my chief hat on, okay? We will ask the resident to pay their bill, okay? We will ask them to pay their bill. And there's many reasons that they can't pay their bill. One is they don't have the money. One is they didn't get the bill, so let's remedy that. That's an easy one. Here's the bill. Can you please pay it, right? The third one is, my gosh, it's a $1,000 bill. What's going on? So when they call and I look at what they have, or Captain does, oh, I see, we didn't get their insurance information when we were there. Hold on, we can take care of this really quick. So we get all their insurance information, put it in, send it back to them, run it through insurance, and see what happens, what comes chunking out of the machine, right? So if there's a $300 copay that's there, please pay your bill. It costs money to do this. We are already charging the resident a discounted rate compared to what we charge a non-resident or private service. And if they still say, yeah, we just can't do this, we can set up payment plans. We do have the ability for hardships to say, okay, move it, right? Come talk to me, let's figure out what's going on. So, yes, we do ask them to pay their bill. Yes, we have turned residents over to collection. But, you know, payment plans are an option. There's ways to work through it. And many years ago, this board was very clear. It's not everybody sitting here, but this body, that's probably a better way to say it, was very clear that we were to pursue everything that was pursuable. So now here's the real story, is when we get the report back from Arbor Credit, or whatever they're called, Ann Arbor Credit, let's just say that it's a $50 copay that's not been paid. By the time we pay them the percentage, hire the attorney, file the suit, we owe them $20. So that's a no. So there is some discretion with all of that. And we try to make the right decision, you know, for the service.
Any other questions? Then Chair would entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2026-02. Motion by Winchester, support.
I'll second it.
Support by Stillwell. Roll call, please.
Mr. Stillwell?
Yes.
Ms. Winchester?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Yes.
And Evans?
We're getting quiet. That would take us to, motion approved 5-0. That would take us to number 4, new ambulance purchase request,
Thank you.
which is resolution 2026-03.
Okay, if I can have that fellow there right to the podium, Captain Finkbeiner. So I'll start this off, and I will finish it, but Captain Finkbeiner will kind of fill in the middle. We've talked, not as much recently, but ad nauseum about our fleet and the condition of it and the need to repair, replace some of our vehicles, right? We had the spreadsheet that we put together with red, yellow, green as far as vehicle condition goes. And what we're trying to do here is take one of those red vehicles out of the picture and replace it, okay? If I take it any farther, Captain?
So the vehicle we're looking to replace is the 2007 Chevy chassis ambulance down at Station 3. It's the backup ambulance. Traditionally, the department, we've had 4 ambulances, 2 primary units and 2 backups. Our backup units do get utilized, I wouldn't say every day, but quite frequently. So this unit we purchased in 2018, December 8th, from Independence Fire. They purchased that unit new in 2007. When it came to us, it had somewhere around 150-something thousand miles. It's a diesel ambulance. Now today, it's sitting at about 163,000. We purchased that for 10 grand cash. In the last 2 years, we put $7,300 into it. Things just keep breaking. One of the biggest purchases was a rebuild of the HVAC system, which is required by the state to have climate control in the front and the rear of the ambulance. So the vehicle itself is just worn out. I mean, Independence runs significantly more calls than we do. That was a frontline unit for them for a number of years. And it was a fill-in truck for some units that had blown up and just not been serviceable anymore. So when we had purchased the 2022 ambulances in 23, those were purchased with ARPA grants. At that point, we were discussing a remount ambulance versus a brand new chassis with a brand new box on it. In the COVID era, with all these kind of conglomerates of ambulance manufacturers and fire truck manufacturers that you've seen on the news, remounting just really isn't a cheap option anymore. It used to be a pretty significant cost-saving measure, and now it's just not really worth it. And especially when you take into account the age of the box, the year that it was built, the safety regulations then versus now. I mean, we'd be spending just an unknown number of dollars on it, to the point where the manufacturers that we talk to, they don't even want to entertain remounting that truck. The second part of that is, it is a diesel ambulance. It's our last diesel ambulance that we have. At the time of purchase, we had 2 others. We really don't have a diesel shop anymore for that type of a vehicle. We use Heinz Park Ford for all of our light-duty vehicles, except for Chief Wiles' truck. I don't know really who he uses besides himself. So we do have a preferred vendor when it comes to our ambulances currently, both on the mechanical side and the emergency vehicle side as well. So just trying to find a vendor to work on it. We're kind of piecemealing the Bowman dealership down in Clarkston. It's been over to AIS now, which was some tire shop on Hill Road. I can't remember the name of it, what it used to be called. So it's just inconvenient to work on. It's failing. So we went ahead and we started putting some quotes together. In your board packet was this copy, but I went ahead and printed you a nice color copy that you can actually read. So we did do 3 different vendors, McQueen, R&R, and EV Plus. We've done business with R&R and EV Plus in the past. We purchased the last 2 ambulances from them, as well as them completing service on 3 of our vehicles today. McQueen is a new vendor for us in terms of vehicles. We've used McQueen in the past for fire gear and other consumables like that. So if we start looking at the cost, it's significantly more than it was in 2022 and 23 when we received the last 2 ambulances. But just like everything else, right, the cost of doing business is continually going up. So what you'll notice on the spreadsheet is it says type 1 and type 3. So a type 1 ambulance is a truck chassis, like an F-Series chassis or a Chevy truck series chassis or Ram truck series chassis with a modular box mounted on top of it. What we currently have in the fleet, aside from the vehicle we want to replace, are type 3 ambulances. It's a van-style chassis with a modular box on it. The downside to using a van-style chassis is they don't really come in 4-wheel drive. And we know Holly and Rose Township, we could really use the 4-wheel drive. The other side of that is, in the off chance that something were to happen with a Type 1 truck series chassis, that we could remount that box easier if there wasn't significant damage to the box that needed to be repaired and stuff like that. But the biggest benefit to us versus Type 1 truck series chassis and Type 3 ambulance chassis, the truck series chassis comes in a 4-wheel drive. Still a gas engine, same motor that's in the 23s, just the upgraded Godzilla motor from Ford. So still easy to work on, parts are available, and it's significantly cheaper than a diesel. So the biggest reasons why we don't want a diesel versus a gas engine is the use that these ambulances go through. Private services traditionally had bought diesel ambulances until the shortages started coming out and it was getting more expensive, just based on the idle time. So those units would go in service at the start of their shift and they wouldn't shut off till the end of their shift. We don't operate in that fashion, right? We get a call, the ambulance turns on, go do the thing, come back, ambulance turns off. It's not uncommon that we start the truck, go out the door, come back 2 minutes later and the truck's off. It's not really great for diesel units, so really we just didn't entertain it at all. So as we look down, we'll talk about Type 1s first. So the Type 1s across all 3 manufacturers is somewhere in the neighborhood about $278,000 to about $305,000, with the Type 3s being somewhere about $250,000-ish to about $280,000. Just like buying a car today, there are some manufacturers that are better than others. These are all quoted on F-Series or E-Series chassis, so we're still sticking with Ford across the board. But as far as the box manufacturer we'll go with, there are some differences in quality. We've had the wheeled coaches. This is our 3rd unit with them. We enjoy the boxes. It's an ambulance. It's going to get beat up and parts are going to fall off of it and damage is going to occur. But so far they've held up well for us. And specifically with our preferred vendor we're using now, EV Plus, the service we get with them is very good. To the point where we call our service rep and I say, hey, we broke this thing. Can you send it to me? And it's in the mail and we install it. Or our service rep or our service tech, Glenn, lives somewhat locally. He'll just show up the next day and take care of the problem for us. So with all that being said, we're going to recommend the Wheel Coach Type 1 ambulance from EV Plus. The cost today is $305,000. It's not the cheapest unit. It's not the most expensive unit we could get. It's a dependable unit, But the more important thing is if we look over into the last column over on lead times. So today, EV Plus has 2 units set aside for us with our name on them, one being a Type 1, one being a Type 3. The other manufacturers are at least 10 months to 24 months out. This unit is not a frontline unit, but this is going to push another unit into backup status, replace a frontline unit, and really it's just the dependability of it. There have been multiple instances in the last month and a half, I would say, that we've gone to get in that truck and there's been an issue, and 2 weeks ago the tire was flat because the valve stem corroded out. Other aspects are, we turned the truck on and there's no power in the back because the HVAC system corroded a circuit board, right? And it's an old truck, it's wearing out, right? So if you're interested, on the back of the cost breakdown are all the drawings of the vehicles. They all look very, very, very similar. They're all the same box essentially with the different front end. These are all stock units. There's no customization that's being had. And realistically, the only difference between the box manufacturers is the construction type. They're all meeting the same Triple K safety standards. I believe the last revision was 2021 or 2020. But it's really just the construction of the box, whether they're using wood cabinets or they're using aluminum cabinets. They're all essentially the same unit with a different sticker on the side of it. So Matt, I'll let you handle the financing.
Well, before we get there, I know we went through that pretty quick. Are there any questions for him before we talk about financing? Or about the recommendation?
Just to clarify, you said some things about front line, back line. The new vehicle will be front line.
Correct.
But
Yep.
it's going to be replacing a back line.
Correct.
So
Yep. We're just going to rotate the stock.
up.
Yep. So then our oldest vehicle, oldest ambulance in the fleet will be a 2012.
And that is a remount
That is a remount.
that we bought for $100K from EV Plus. That was one of those trips where we got a phone call, we had board approval, we went over with a blank check, wrote it, and drove it home. So
Yeah, and even then, we purchased that in 2015 or 16.
15, yeah.
So it was already 3 years old when we got it.
Right. Yep. And as he alluded, this is four-wheel drive. We don't have any ambulances currently that are four-wheel drive. It's not every call, but that hill on Tipsco Lake Road, we've had more ambulances sideways and stuck there.
Not one of our current ambulances?
Yes, one of our current ambulances, 2 of them were stuck sideways there.
Not something I'm questioning.
Oh.
Yeah, I understand you saying that one of our current ambulances is a four-wheel drive.
Correct. So,
Wow.
yeah, and,
How did that happen?
well, I can answer that if you like. And there's a story with it. We did order, at one point in time, a truck chassis ambulance. And when we got it, the stretcher wouldn't fit in the back of it because it was too high. So that was the last time we did that. Previous to some of the current chassis options, these four-wheel drive chassis ambulances did not meet some of the step-in requirements and height requirements in the back. So you had to sign a waiver that you were buying a non-compliant vehicle. So when the insurance company gets a hold of that and says, oh, you're buying a non-compliant vehicle, your rates go up because somebody's going to slip and fall out of the back of the ambulance because it doesn't meet the step-in height. So that all said, those things have been remedied now. And we had looked at four-wheel drive ambulances in the past, and there was direction from the chief that we were not going to do that for various reasons. And we'd even looked at like a Quigley conversion for a van. Brandon had one of those, but again, that was a step-in height that was pretty high, so forth and so on. So at one point, we had auto chains, and those were just a maintenance nightmare. So when we get these instances now, it's not uncommon that we pull an ambulance up the hill. We try to come in from the other way, put them in a pickup truck that's four-wheel drive, and take them to an ambulance that's not stuck. So this is something that we should have done a long time ago, but you can see the price difference between the van and the pickup is significant as well. I mean, it's not like it's $5,000. So, and that's always been the delta as well, as we've looked at the cost and said, yeah, we're not going to spend that much money.
About $25,000.
Yes, sir. So with that, at the last meeting, if there's nothing else, nice job, thank you. We talked about our fund balance, right? There's all kinds of different names across the board we call this, our capital replacement fund, whatever you want to call it, right? Our pot of money. We could take the roughly $325,000 and pull it right out of there and pay cash for this. But we would be below $200,000 in that fund. That will flag us, and that will get a note on our audit. And I am not confident enough that we would be able to replenish a good portion of that over the next year to bring us above $200,000. So we have to look at how can we pay for this? How can we, finance this is what it boils down to. So talking with Jeremy, we batted some things back and forth of strategies for this. And what it's looking like is we can pull $100,000 out without an issue, and we can finance the remaining $225,000. So with that, in your packet, it's a letter from First Government Lease Company. And this is just weird how things work. I go to get the mail out of the post box.
Before we go,
Yes, sir.
Is this page have anything to do with
That was the maintenance cost of the last.
Oh, yeah, just an exhibit to go with.
this? Okay, we haven't got to it yet.
Well, so this was just to show what we've paid. He alluded we paid quite a bunch of money in maintenance for the vehicle. So
This is the vehicle we're looking at replacing?
yeah, so there's $6,500, $203, and $720.
I just didn't know if it was a significance.
No, just supporting documentation. So oddly enough, I went to the post box, and there's this little flyer that came in there and says, hey, are you looking for a new vehicle? We finance government vehicles. I'm like, oh, boy, timing's everything. So I gave them a call, and I said, this is what we want to do. We want to purchase a Type 1 ambulance. We've got $100,000 to put down. We're looking to finance approximately $220 out of that. What does that look like? And I gave them some of our history, because this is not the first time we've done this. Typically, we do semi-annual payments. We run them out for 3 to 5 years, looking at an ambulance. I don't know that it's prudent to run that out at 5 years, so I just threw 3 years at him. And what they came back with was a fixed rate at 5.35%. And then the payments are $42,000 twice a year.
Yes, here.
That is this page here, sir.
The very day.
So I also reached out to the state bank, and we've been playing phone tag. He called me in the middle of class today, left me a voicemail. Called him back, left him a voicemail, said, hey, this is what we're looking to do. This is the rate we've got in the term. He sent me a voicemail back. Long story short is, they are roughly the same interest rate. I think he said he was at 5.2%. So right in the ballpark. And again, I'm just looking for direction here. If this is something we want to pursue, and this is how we want to pursue it. And I know that Holly Township, you have brought an interest forward to help us with this like you did our truck. So I wanted to at least have some information here so that if this is a desire of Holly Township to take back to their board and see if you're interested in financing, that is on the table as well.
So tonight, do you have 2 separate requests, or is it all rolled into one?
So it's all rolled into one resolution with some openness, I guess, if you will, open-ended, giving the authority to finance it.
Well, the board, the reason I'm asking is the board can authorize to purchase the truck. If we're going to look at some additional ways of financing, other than what you brought us, that would take some time.
So,
Well, and I think we should separately
That's what I'm saying. I'd
approve
like to see the
the
2 separate.
financing.
Yeah.
so in the resolution, the financing strategy is called out with $100,000 down and the principal being financed. And it also approves the fire chief or their designee to sign the purchase agreement and all necessary procurement and financing documents on behalf of the authority. So if you don't want that, then we need to separate it.
Yeah, I think that
Well, I'd like some
we
time
need to
look at the
approve the
other-
financing part of it, yeah.
Okay, and the goal.
If the board approves the purchase, is that enough for the company to hold the truck?
Answer yes? Yes,
Well, I didn't hear.
yes.
Okay. Well, it's a two-step process. and I told you
No,
at the beginning,
yep.
I'm going to need time for phase two.
Yeah, and again,
Findings.
I'm just taking a crack at these resolutions. I am by no means a professional resolution writer, and I have a little machine that helps me. And my thought with it was, if we could approve the purchase and then the ability for me to finance it, whatever the outcome is, whether it's a bank or Holly Township, we can still move forward with it. So if you want to split it out,
Let me do
I'm good
this.
with it.
Between Debbie and Karen, there are clerks.
Yep.
Right now, the resolution includes all of it. Can we modify the resolution to just approve the purchase part?
Yeah.
Or,
Because
Or just-
this resolution includes financing and everything.
or just do a motion to approve the purchase?
That's what I think, just a motion to approve the purchase like we've done in the past.
Okay, so we don't need to do it. So where the resolution's concerned, we'll take no action. That is what I'm going to do.
Cool.
All right. So that, at this point, the chair will entertain a motion to purchase the ambulance from Wheel Coach. The
No,
name of the
EV.
company is
EV Plus.
EV Plus. That's the Wheel Coach Type 1, which is the four-wheel drive at 304, not to exceed 305,000.
Okay. Actually, the total price is $313, so we should probably, with stickers and so forth.
315.
325, sorry. That's what I had in the resolution. Yes, please.
So part of purchasing an ambulance
Wait.
is,
I know, but you gotta get the microphone.
part of purchasing the ambulance is we have to make it look pretty, right? So we gotta put all of our graphics on it. We did get a quote back from our current graphics vendor, Eagle Graphics, for 7,000 and some change. They were the ones that just did the brush truck. They're quoting our Pavette trailer right now, so we like working with them. The power load system and the power cot that we had purchased in 22 and 20, what was the second set, even 24, 23? 23, that was a 40-something thousand purchase. We currently own one, so they quoted us $1,200 to take it out of the replacement ambulance, put it in the brand new ambulance, so that's in there. So just without any extra incidentals, we are looking somewhere in the neighborhood of
$325.
eight-ish $1,000 extra on top of the 313.
In the future, you've got all those numbers here, you just don't have the total.
It's in the,
It's in the resolution.
yep.
Okay, but that's why I didn't pull it when I was talking.
Understood.
You're fine. Yeah, it's in there and it's in the narrative that we submitted as well. Yeah, so I think we decided $325,000
Is the not to exceed.
not to exceed, including the cost of the
That's
ambulance
number one.
and incidentals.
Okay. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to approve the purchase of an Type 1 F-550 ambulance from EV Plus for a total project cost not to exceed $325,000. Is there support? Support. Applicant Cullis and Johnson, just to make it easy. Are there any other questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Stillwell?
Yes.
Mr. Cullis?
Yes?
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Winchester?
Yes.
And Ms. Deloria?
Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hold your applause.
I got to say, Logan, Captain Finkbeiner.
At least I get a smile from him.
He put a lot of work into this. This is the first time that he's gone through and done this whole bid process, put the package together. Him and I sat down for an hour or so the other day to review and go over all this. And, this is part of the handoff, right? Training and replacement that goes into it. In the past, I've been the one standing here going ad nauseum about all of this, and I thought it's finally his turn, so, well done. Nice job.
Okay. All right. Next, I'll move to number 5, board officers appointments. This information first came to me through the chief, that it was desired that this board has its chair and co-chair, one from each township. I then later got that information from Rita, that she would like to see the board moving forward, create the officers, one from each township. So keep that in mind tonight. When we read our policies and procedures, we did put a term on citizen at large. And Dan, so you understand, that was done for 2 reasons. Prior to the change, the citizen at large was like a Supreme Court justice. It was a life appointment. There was no expiration date. We put a 2-year expiration. We put a 2-year expiration date on that because at the time, I felt that it gave somebody that took the seat an opportunity after 2 years to graciously say, I appreciate the time, I need to move on, as opposed to forcing them to resign in order to get out from underneath that responsibility. You don't fall into 2 years tonight, so that's not an issue. You can make that decision next year. Inside policies and procedures, we didn't do any changes on the officers that sit here term-wise. We had discussed at the time that it would go back and forth between the 2 townships, but at that time it wasn't desired. So, either way, you don't put up for nominations for appointments. For the board chair, the co-chair, and then a secretary. Correct? Okay. So I'll open nominations for the chair.
I nominate George Cullis to be the chair.
You almost didn't take a breath.
I didn't want nobody to slip in between.
Okay. Are there any other nominations? All right. Does that have to go by motion, or can we just vote?
Should be a motion.
Okay. Motion to elect George Cullis as chair of the Nocfa board.
I'll make a motion to nominate George Cullis as chair of the Nocfa board.
Appoint.
Appoint?
Yeah,
Okay.
What'd I say?
nominate.
Nominate? I've already done that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to appoint you now.
Okay.
Put you in the seat.
Motion by Stillwell, is there support?
Me.
No.
Yep.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now the co-chair. I'll nominate Brad Stillwell. Nobody had a chance to sign in here.
Do I have to accept or not?
Yeah.
Do- Well, it's recommended by the attorney, apparently.
I'll accept.
With,
Okay. Then I'll make a motion to appoint Brad Stillwell as co-chair. Is there support?
support.
Support by Winchester. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Now we need to nominate a secretary.
I nominate Debbie Miller.
Nomination for Miller. Do you accept?
That's it.
Are there any other nominations? Then I need a motion to,
Move to appoint Debbie Miller as secretary.
Motion by Winchester, support by Johnson. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. That takes care of those three. All right, now we'll move on to number 6, which I pulled down. I already talked to Matt and showed Debbie what the concern was. It's just an appointment of numbers on that circle, so once they get divided and verified, those minutes will come back in the next month's packet. So there's no action taken until they can. Number 7, bills for payment. I saw the bills for payment, and the one that caught my eye real quick was a $49,000 expense. And I talked to the chief, and through that conversation, I had a couple of questions. We thought that it might not hurt just to bring this to the board to give some clarity on these bills for payment. You'll notice on February 3rd, there was a payment to Decker Agency for $49,620. That is the cost of our liability insurance, not the health insurance, but the liability for trucks, vehicles, and so forth. That is an annual payment. That is an annual payment. Then as you go down the list, there's a payment to the road commission for $2,993, and it's my understanding that's for fuel.
Yeah, typically we're at $1,700-$1,800 a month for fuel. This bill, when it came in, it was like a month and a half bill. It was just an odd billing cycle. That's why it's a bit higher than normal. So,
I thought it was important that people realize when we talk about putting gas in the trucks,
Yeah.
it's not a cheap investment.
no, it's $1,800 like clockwork every month. And we're paying $2 and some raw change a gallon. So we're, far below.
Because we get it through the road commission.
Yeah, and Ian actually, he and I sat down and ran the math, and we can't get it cheaper anywhere. I mean, we even pay a service fee on top of this, and hands down. If we weren't getting it, our bill would probably be $2,500 to $2,800 a month for fuel.
Then we go down here to Fulton County Treasurer's Office for dispatching. I just wanted people to be aware, it costs us $4,000 a month for dispatching service. And I see people nodding their head. I know it's important that we have it, but I think the public sometimes needs to understand some of the costs involved in running this department when we talk about our budgets.
And that's going to go up again, by the way.
Yeah, we got that already.
Surprise.
No, we are on a 3-year cycle with them, so.
When is that contract
I think it's next year. I think that feels right. But, so what they'll do is, we'll get the shock of 30% or whatever the increase is, and then it'll be 3% each year after that.
Yeah,
So,
'cause if you just take this times 12, we're just under $50,000 now on an annual. And I say that because the public needs to be aware of that, and they need to understand, these are hard costs that we don't have options. It's what it takes to run a department.
yeah, and the other thing that's going to impact it too was the stats that I brought last month with our yearly runs increasing. That also increases our dispatching costs. So the more airtime we get, we'll call it, so every run number, that inflates the next billing cycle for the next 3 years. So, as we get busier, we pay more.
And then, seems like they're charging for all contracts at least a 30% increase. in
You're not
Fulton
wrong.
County.
Yeah, no, I mean, I watch the county commissioners' meetings because I have nothing better to do, I guess, and I just hear the complaining of every contract that comes up that a community has. It started with the assessing.
Yep.
Communities bowed out. The sheriff's contracts with several communities went up substantially. Everybody was, off the hinge about it. Same thing with the dispatch contract. When we got this last one, there were communities that saw 40+% increase in their contract for the next 3 year, plus a couple of percent on top of that for each year. So, yeah, I'm just kind of bracing myself to see where we go. And it seems like a lot of this started with some new management in budget down there. and they like to apply the maximum study, so, everything has a cost and everything gets passed on to the end user, so.
I mean, let's say what it is, it started as people passed away. And they started looking at things very differently.
For sure.
Including the county, downtown county. It's unfortunate.
Oh, Coulter Tower?
Pardon?
Coulter Tower?
Yeah. $19 million for property that was
Yep.
valued at between 4 and 5. Yeah. All right, so I wanted to bring those out to the attention and of the public so the people understood. Because I pulled it out of consent agenda, we do make a motion to approve paying the bills. So the chairman can make a motion to do so.
Make a motion to approve the bills for payment?
Motion by Clerk Winchester, is there support?
I'll second it.
Support by Supervisor Stoll. Is there any further discussion? None appearing, can I have a roll call, please?
Sure, Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Ellis?
Yep.
Ms. Winchester?
Yes.
Mr. Stillwell?
Yes.
Ms. Miller, yes.
Motion carries 5-0. That completes our new business, takes us to reports, which includes the monthly incident data for December 2025 and the 2025 year.
All right, so at the back of the packet is, and it didn't come out good again, but this is a snapshot of the first month of the year. And yes, it's, 4 pages?
Yeah, well, you call it a snapshot, so.
Yeah, I know, it's hard to believe 4 pages is a snapshot, but it is. Yeah, no, sir. So, I take a breath here. I mentioned that we have a new reporting system. We are struggling, as well as every department in the county, state, and whoever else is using this. So I was able, after I spent some time on the phone with the help desk and a couple other folks, I was able to at least print raw data for 137 runs that we ran in the month of January. So what this does is, as you look across all of this, it gives you a day and a time the run happened, a generic type of call, and then the road, and then the station that responded. So we had talked about trying to look at this as more of a district or a station response than a Rose or a Holly Township or an I-75 response. So oddly enough, again, we've got 137 run numbers that were issued, and I was only able to account for 133 of them.
Yeah, I was gonna
say,
ask, you
like,
get
what you-
numbers on, yeah.
Now, listen, I went to Holly, right?
So we were on
And
the same-
graduated, and those two don't match, right? I get it. So we've got some runs out in the stratosphere somewhere that did not populate into this dump of data. These are the types of things that we're up against. So I just took the raw numbers that were printed here, again, 133 total runs. And when you look at the breakout of them, 82 of those were Station 1 responses, 51 were Station 3 responses, and that's where I ended it. And so the other part of this is,
Basically what you're saying, because this is what we did, it's useless.
not as useless as, no. Jeremy was trying to take this same information and do the Holly Rose like he normally does for us. And he was having issues with his report dumping out as well. So I don't think it's useless at all. You know, when you go down through here and you look, and let's just pull run number 106. So that's on page 3. And when you look at that, it was on the 25th at 046, so that's just after midnight. Motor vehicle collision on I-75, Station 1 responded. Same day at 7:20 in the morning, we had a fall that was in Holly Township, Station 1 responded. Same day, 9/11 in the morning, there was a poisoning, so that's Davisburg, so that's Rose Township, Station 3. Same day, 11 o'clock, motor vehicle accident with entrapment on I-75, Station 1 ran. 11:31, Milford and Water was a vehicle collision. Station 3 ran that call. Mind you, Station 1 is still out on I-75, okay? 11:45, we have a sick case, so somebody was sick on Milford Road. Station 3 responded to that. 11:25, we had another call on Grange Hall that Station 1 ran.
So Station 3?
It- I'm sorry.
Station 3 took 2 calls at the same time?
Yep. So then the next call was at 17:51, so there's been a break now, right? We've had lunch, thought about supper, and that was on Grange Hall Road, and Station 1 ran that call. So that's the purpose of this report, is so that you can go through and you can look at this and see, wow, we've got some stacked calls that are happening. Now, when you look at, for example, so let's pick Run 131, and that's on the 30th of the month. And you'll see that that is a motor vehicle collision at 1:38 in the afternoon, so 13:38, and then immediately 13:55 is another motor vehicle collision. Those 2 calls are together. So what that is we had a patient that we pulled a run number for to treat and or sign off. So that's really the same incident. So, it's difficult to break this out, just how we do business, but there are quite a few, and unfortunately, I left the thing on my desk. I had all of these calls. I know. Well, I'm going to own it because I did. I went through and crunched a bunch of these numbers down to look at what our super stacked calls are. And, there's some days where there's like 10 calls that we're stacking up. And we're still running these mutual aid calls. So, we're handling our business and we're helping our neighbors at the same time. So, to me, that's the purpose of this report, just to give you guys a snapshot of the month.
How do you tell when you're reading this if it's a mutual aid call?
You have to know the road.
The location.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there isn't anything that denotes mutual?
No, so I do that manually every week, Monday morning, after I've had a half a cup of coffee. I go through every run that we had the previous week. I look at the address, the township, and the type of call. And that's where I determine what our true mutual aid calls are. Unfortunately, through CAD, so computer-aided dispatching, if I-75 is an example of this, if a call comes in north of Grange Hall on 75, that's Holly Township, okay? A lot of times it's coded as Groveland, and it shows up as a mutual aid call. It really isn't. So I pull that out, so that's my burden that I take. And if you look at Tucker Road, there's a little side, Weber, there's a little side street off Tucker. So a couple of those streets are Groveland Township. We respond there. It's not a mutual aid, it's a handshake agreement with Groveland because they go up into the other corner of Holly Township to cover that. So I don't consider that mutual aid. I pull those out of there. So that's why my numbers might look a little different sometimes than others on the mutual aid. So I know that was a long drawn-out explanation, and I apologize.
I thought it was interesting, too, what kind of calls, what you're doing. I'm curious on the sick case.
Yeah,
People call because they're sick, like with the flu?
Well, so let's talk about our new reporting system. I wish I could give you a better answer. It's just how the new reporting system would clarify that. So it's a medical. They just call it a sick case.
But do people really call when they're,
Yes.
yes. Wow.
So this could be a heart attack, stroke.
Easy now. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it
Was it a-
continues to get worse, right?
So, and thank you for bringing that out. One of the things so I've been around for a minute. I hate to sound like the dried up raisin in the corner telling stories, right, with the gray-haired old guy. But I've been here 30 some odd years, and I've delivered 0 babies. I have been on 0 births that have happened. What are you talking about? Right? So in the last, I don't know, month, we've had 2 births prior to our arrival.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if it was a boy or a girl on the 7th.
That was, I believe it was a boy. So
You guys delivered, or
So-
had, you got it to the hospital?
prior to arrival,
You never deliver?
yeah, but mom delivers. We catch, we provide
There's the
support.
assistant chief right there, yeah.
No, but it's just, it just shows that, it just shows the type of calls that we're going on are changing, evolving, right? We are being, and used is a bad word, it has a bad connotation, but we are being used as home health care at times, right? And we are being used sometimes with the assumption that, well, if I go in the ambulance, I'll be seen farther, right? That could be farther from the truth.
That's false, yes.
Right, so, our service is increasing, our call volume is increasing, because our population is increasing. We have people here that are younger now, especially with, looking at some of the housing options that are out there, because there's quite a few rentals now that are available. And you just see this influx coming north and coming south into our area, where that's the type of service that's expected from where they came. So they make phone calls, they call them.
When your calls are stacking up, are we getting mutual aid from other departments?
Rarely. I think we gave one ambulance call away.
Is there a reason for that?
So, yeah, there is, it's sitting right out there. It's every one of these guys.
No.
No, serious, because, so, I'm gonna start pointing. These two guys are in the ambulance right now, they go out on the call, and they're dealing with that. The two guys behind them are the next two up. They're at Station 1, they go on a call. Greg and, let's see, we'll just pick on them. They come in from home, Randy comes in from home and goes to Station 1, Tim comes in from home, and so does Doug, and now we've got another set of crews stacked up, ready to go. We can pull our third or our fourth ambulance, jump in a big red truck, go fight a fire. That's where our depth of bench comes from, is from right up here. And I didn't plan this, by the way, these guys all showed up, but that's where it comes from. And right now, our depth of bench is good enough. It's not great, but it's good enough. We are getting by. And that is the other reason we get these calls out of district for Highland and Springfield and, so forth. They know when they call us, we are gonna put priority and get out there and help them immediately. And then we've got folks coming in behind to get our business taken care of when the next call comes in, because it's gonna. I mean, that's just Murphy. He's hiding around the corner all the time.
But they just don't respond to us like we respond to them because they don't have the extra staff like we do?
That's not accurate.
I'm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought.
We're the ones,
Trying
we're
to-
the ones that put out the request for mutual.
Yeah,
If we request it,
So on a day-to-day basis, and we'll talk about potential, if we have a structure fire, we are going to call for mutual aid, I guarantee it. Right out of the gate, when we pull out of the station and we see smoke, we want everybody coming, okay? And they do. I don't want to jinx us. So I'm not going to say a couple other things after that. But when we get an ambulance run, we send the two guys, they go handle it, right? And the next run, we send a couple guys to handle it. We've got folks coming in to backfill that. We ask for our stations to be covered, and folks come in and do it. And then when the third call comes out, we've got people already at the station to grab that next ambulance and run the call. If we didn't, then we would say, hey, Groveland, send me an ALS unit. They may say, go fish, because we're already tied up, or we're only staffed at 3 tonight, we can't send our truck over. Springfield, we have the same situation, right? They may be on 2 other runs already, and their crews may be committed, so we would call Highland or the village, or. So, again, we're handling our business more so in taking that depth and making sure that we're covered, and our residents are covered. I mean, they deserve that. They don't, when you make that mutual aid call, it's not like it happens like this, right? So we're 2 calls deep. We get the third call that comes in, and we are maybe staffed. So we respond and figure out how crap we need an ambulance. Hey, send me an ambulance from XYZ. They've got to generate the call, tone it out. The next department has shoot time, right, to get the call, get to the truck. So there could be a 4 or 5 minute or 7 or 10-minute delay between, hey, I need this, to when the call actually gets processed out through and we get an ambulance coming. So, we try not to get into that boat. We want to make sure we get that response time on the third and fourth call. So, and there's not many agencies around that can do that. So, that, again, that's a measurement, I believe, of why we get called, is because we provide service.
All right. You have somebody from the, is that the end of your report?
So, I didn't know we were recording. I thought that was a question I was answering.
Business after we voted, I said,
Yeah.
please report.
So,
Put your
And
report in.
that's that report.
okay. So, you wanted me to bring up a
Yeah.
couple things in here. So, Nocfa was chosen by the Chamber of Commerce and received an award not too long ago for nonprofit excellence. I was privileged to attend the dinner and receive this. There's a picture of it sitting in our training room. Right, you guys have all seen that. With that, there was a certificate of recognition, been a long day, from Commissioner Hoffman, actually from the County Board of Commissioners, signed by Commissioner Hoffman and David T. Woodward, the chair. And it says, on behalf of Commissioner Bob Hoffman and the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, it is our distinct pleasure to recognize the North Oakland County Fire Authority as a recipient of the North Oakland Regional Chambers Association Nonprofit Excellence Award. In addition to being commended for its excellence in emergency response, Nocfa is also known for its dedication to community support, advocacy, and engagement. Nocfa, along with the Nocfa Firefighters Association and the Nocfa Firefighters Union, demonstrates its commitment to supporting local and regional causes such as Holly Area Youth Assistance, Holly Kiwanis, through efforts funded entirely by non-taxpayer dollars raised by its own members. Additionally, these incentives offer direct assistance through adopting families in need during the holiday season, and Nocfa sponsorships benefit organizations such as the Great Lake Burn Camp and Ride for Autism. Nocfa also maintains a positive presence at community events and activities, including the annual Holidays celebration, career days, and classroom visits at Holly area schools, outreach visits to nursing homes and daycare centers, and emergency standby and event coverage. Station tours and informal interactions ensure Nocfa remains visible, accessible, and approachable to the residents it serves. We thank Nocfa for its unwavering service to the underserved and vulnerable residents in the region, and we congratulate you on this well-deserved recognition. The next thing is a special tribute, and it basically says the same thing as the first, and this is signed by Lana Thies, our state senator, and Ruth Johnson, who used to be our state senator. And those of you that don't know, Ruth is a local resident, not in Holly Township, but close by. And I've had the pleasure of knowing her since I was pretty small. She still calls me Matthew. So, but that was quite the event, quite the honor, and I was very proud to represent this organization in receiving that. And I even wore my Class A uniform.
I can tell you, as president of the chamber, we look at the groups in our community. I've been president of Board now for, I think, like 8 years. And we look at these organizations that serve this community. And this is an honor to all of you guys. This is a thank you for the work you put in for our community. So
Absolutely.
that's why I didn't want it to be buried in the consent agenda.
And then lastly is a letter from Madison Heights Police Department, dated February 6, 2026. On Sunday, February 1, 2026, the Madison Heights Police Department received a call for a 6-year-old nonverbal autistic boy who went missing. These types of calls typically resolve quickly with an officer or family member locating the missing child. However, minutes turned into hours, and concern grew as time passed that the search would not end well. The Madison Heights Police Department called on assistance from several agencies, including yours, to send resources in helping find the boy. Without hesitation and despite frigid conditions, help was sent. Resources poured in, including helicopters, drones, canines, search and rescue teams, and even a mobile command post. Never in my career had I seen such a response. It was truly a sight to behold. After nearly 8 hours with your agency's assistance, the boy was safely located inside of an unlocked neighbor's home nearby. Madison Heights Police Department and the residents of Madison Heights are in deep gratitude of your compassion and efforts. May this letter serve as a positive recognition of the employees from your agency who assisted in this matter. Respectfully, Chief Brent Lamarce, Madison Heights Police Department.
You know, that letter gave me a chill the first time I read it. When you're hearing about this deployment and all of this stuff out here, and you know, your mind goes, oh my God, look. And then you find out all the time you guys were doing, these are neighbors out playing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Thank God.
And,
You know?
yeah, I mean, it was a great outcome. I think I got back home about 3 o'clock in the morning, but it was a good outcome. So, you know, this just, I guess the point of the letter is, we go to Madison Heights if they call.
Is this the child they found in the bath?
Yes, ma'am. He was taking a bath at his neighbor's house.
You did fine.
I knew that.
Yep. Yes, yes, yes.
Well, it's good they found
Yeah, it was. So I didn't, obviously, we've been a bit busy with some internal issues, and I did not prepare a written report like I normally do, and I apologize for that. I hope next month we'll have a few more things put together better. But I would like to report that I was on the phone for a minute with Ecto HR today. I've sent them the packet of policies. So they are in process of reviewing those now, as I said I would. And we're starting that conversation of how do we move forward with those, their recommendations and so forth. Chief Seal put some training out to the membership of the department that is required to be completed before our next board meeting, so I can report out on that to see what our compliance rate is. So I would imagine so. Good. So, you know, we are moving forward as fast as we can to rectify the things that happened in the past. So with that, I'd like to take the opportunity to say that I'd like to leave this now and move forward. And I would like, and this is an ask, because I know this has gotten in the way, and this is a very sensitive topic, and I don't want to be inflammatory, I don't want to upset anybody. But I would like us, I'm in the middle of all of this, right? Because I'm the chief, and I work for you, and these guys work for me. And we need to move forward past this. We have some business out there that we need to take care of as a union, as a board, as a department, and I'd like to move forward with that. We are in a difficult spot at the moment. Tensions are high, emotions are high, and we don't have a contract, okay? We need to hire some people, right, moving forward, to replace people that have left. And it's difficult for me as a chief to go out and try to bring people into our agency when we have this issue going. And I'm asking, I'm pleading, I'm begging. Both sides. We've got to move forward. We've got to work together, and we've got to get through this soon. That's my ask. Thank you for letting me say that. And that concludes my report. So on to Doug. Okay.
I could have done that.
Okay. Training camp.
You don't need to pass, what do you got? You just got everybody's curiosity.
Well, no, it's just the nearest reporting system, the grant stuff, the stuff that gets done every day, being unfunded again, so that's not still out of the question. I'm following their rules and doing their ads. Nearest is not, it's not a useless system. However, what was useless was the way the system rolled out, and the state of Michigan is behind on getting on top of it. So it is a very powerful program. what the state has asked us to do is do the bare minimum to get by right now until they figure out what they want to approach. So once the state gets their act together, it'll be a very, dare I say,
Robust?
yeah, that would be very, everybody loves.
Robust.
It has all data plots and everything, so if you, down the line, when see what your necessity is to build another station, it plots all that out, and spits right out. If you get a volume of calls up here that aren't getting covered, you do that, over 10 or 30 times, so it's a good program.
We just gotta get there.
So we're hopeful,
Oh, very.
Oh, very well.
Yeah.
We're a lot further ahead here than
we're
there.
hopeful to get to robust.
Yes, yes, sir.
Second teacher report?
Anybody from association? Right?
I don't know.
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. For Holly Township, we met with the project manager and architect, and the project for the new building had gotten installed due to the village of Holly, talking about cityhood, but we're moving forward on that project now. I think everybody wants to have a contract for the barn being put up at the farmstead. That should be done by June, so we'll move on those things. I was at SEMCOG today, this morning, in downtown Detroit for a press conference. If you guys have a chance, go on there and see what the state legislature's doing. They have 4 bills in the House. They are literally taking local control away from the community. All the master plans, all the zoning that you hear, they want to wipe it all out, and they just want to pass a bill that says you can have a lot size of 100 by 150 to build a house. And one of the bills even allows you to put a mobile home on it. One of the bills says that would be the maximum size. There's 4 bills. One bill is a minimum of 100 by 150, another bill is a maximum of 150. So these, in the zoning areas that call for 1 acre minimum or 5 acre minimum, where you're trying to protect your rural field, it wipes all of that out, it takes all the control away. Chris Barnett from Atlanta Township talked about their township has had a lot of growth, and they only have so many REUs when it comes to their sewer capacities. And this would wipe that out completely. We plan to facilitate that. In Holly, we don't have sewer programs going out in the northern township, and the opportunity for people to take 100 by 150 lot and build a house, there's no room to even put a septic field on that. So it's all done in the guise of affordable housing. And the press conference we had today was, number one, don't take local control away, because we know what we're doing out in our communities. And our master plans get redone, and that's public input by all of you. And the bigger issue for me, when I was down there, I said, if you really want to move toward creating affordable housing, then stop sending all of your money into these social programs and put them into infrastructure. So we can take a project like the sewer project for Dixie Highway that covers the northeast corner of Holly, Groveland Township, Brandon Township, into the village of Ortonville. And I said, start funding projects that really matter to people. That sewer project has been on the books since 1958. And it's not been done. We've spent $10 million buying capacity from Genesee County out of the Kersley Interceptor. And Shannon has now built out to the point where they can't start their next production building until we get those sewers to come down. And that's a big problem. You want people to have affordable housing, then let us get the sewers in so they can afford to put a house on property without having to tackle the septic field. The problem is, those people that are introducing the bills, they don't even know what a septic field is.
They drop the square footage to 500 square feet, regardless of the zoning district.
Yeah, there are 4 separate bills, and they do all that kind of stuff, so it's, yeah. And they, in those bills, they've eliminated setbacks. We're right back to where we were, 5 feet from the property line. Well, if you're 5 feet from the property line and he's 5 feet from the property line, you can't even get an emergency vehicle in there. And none of this, the big push this morning was If legislature's gonna pass laws to serve the people, don't you think you should reach out to the community? There were over 100 of us down there today, and Chris Barnett said, how many of the elected officials, and it was a whole room full of us, and they were supervisors and heads of planning commissions were there. And those people in charge of planning and zoning. And he said, how many of you people, by a show of hands, will reach out by these people that are bringing these bills forward and had input on what they're doing? And nobody raised their hand, because none of us knew it until it dropped earlier in the week. And that's how we found out about it. So, I just want people to be aware of that. If you want to get a hold of me, you see me tonight, you can go out and sign these petitions. I know that within 24 hours, we had 1,200 signatures. We've been collecting signatures all day today. And you can go out and sign these petitions to send a message. One of these bills is supposed to be able to come out of committee tomorrow, and then a couple more next week.
I think that
They're
it said,
moving with lightning speed on this.
I think the petition you can sign at the website, Michigan Municipal League,
Yeah.
correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Michigan Municipal League, or you can go to SEMCOG, they've got the link there to do it.
Simple to do.
Yep.
Show your
We need-
support.
Yep.
Otherwise,
All you do is type your name in.
Yeah, no
we're
quality.
gonna lose all control. It's just like their battery and solar, and they're trying to keep chipping away at the foundation here of of local government. They're doing it a little at a time.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why there's 4 bills. They didn't put them all into one bill. They throw 4 against the wall and see which one will pass. And hopefully you're not paying attention, and hopefully they can slip away. And we did what we could do today to bring attention. I haven't seen the 6 o'clock news, but they were all there. I didn't see the report that they put out in the news, but my hope is that they've covered it, and I hope people are watching. I know it's more fun to watch the Olympics and all that other stuff, but boy, if we don't start paying attention, all of a sudden you're gonna have a room full of people going, why the hell did you allow that over there? And the answer is because nobody's paying attention and they're getting away with it. So that's my retort. Rose Township, I hope I didn't steal all your thunder.
No, you covered it well. I was also there, and it was quite a crowd. Like George says, we need to do our due diligence and sign the petitions, let them know we're listening, and let them know we don't need this or want this. One other thing, I'm treasurer of the Holly Kiwanis, and next month we will be, I'm letting the board know, that we've been working on a cadet program, and the Holly Kiwanis is looking to sponsor it. And so we've been working with some of these guys in Groveland, Springfield, well, Holly, Village Holly. We're trying to get Springfield involved. I'm not sure if that's happened yet or not. Working on it, okay. Then we're trying to get, well, at least up to, we think we can help on 20 different cadets, 14 to 18. So I think it's a positive thing for the Kiwanis to get involved with, and so we're doing that for the fire departments. And that's all I got for now.
Okay, that takes us to our citizen at large.
Unfortunately, I have nothing to report. I've had a lot going on this past
And
month.
Mr. Johnson, I just want you to know, our prayers are with you. It's tough to go through. You know? That takes us to our last public comment. Same rules apply. You got 3 minutes. Name and address.
I've got mine written down, so hopefully it won't take.
You're ready to roll.
I'm ready to roll.
Okay.
So unfortunately, given what the chief just said, my comment is in regards.
Name and
Tammy Burgess, Catalina Way, Holly. My comment is in regards to the special meeting that was held last Wednesday. There were comments made following my comment at that meeting that only infuriated me further. Since that meeting was not recorded, I will briefly summarize my understanding of the incident leading to that meeting. Number 1, 2 employees have been disciplined for not following department policy as it relates to what I understand is the reporting of sexual harassment and/or sexual assault. Number 2, the chief decided to encourage the offender to retire in lieu of being fired, quote, because of his years of service with the department, effectively allowing this offender to go elsewhere and offend again, and with no discipline for his offense. On top of that, the chief posted on the Nocfa Facebook page, kudos and attaboys for this offender's great service and happy retirement. Then, with all sincerity and indignation, he defended this by stating he first asked the victim for her permission to make this post, obviously having no clue as to the position that would put her in. And I'm assuming it's a her. Then, to add insult to injury, there was supposed to be an awards banquet held this past Saturday that, it is my understanding, is totally planned and funded by the Firefighters Association, and to which this board has nothing to do with except as courtesy invites, but somehow thought it was appropriate to ask that this event be canceled. For what reason, I have no idea, but the end result is to punish the whole department. After my comments at that meeting, members of the board then proceeded to state that they didn't think any discipline was needed for the chief, effectively meaning that only 2 employees are being disciplined for this whole mess. This has been mishandled from the bottom on up, in my opinion, and it's a travesty. I believe the chief, and you want everything to calm down, maybe this will help. The chief should at the very least receive the same discipline as the other 2 employees and should take sensitivity training as it relates to the impact of sexual harassment and assault on victims. And if the board chooses not to do that, then all discipline should be removed from the only 2 employees that were disciplined. I want to make it clear that I have no problem with the chief or with any members of this board, but how this was handled makes absolutely no sense. And if anybody can make it make sense, I wish they would. Now, maybe it'll all go away.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else for comment? None appearing. If there's nothing more from the board, chief, we are at 8:22, and we have to close this meeting.
So I just want to say thank you for the new ambulance. I may need it someday.
Well, hopefully not.
It'll be 4-wheel drive.
Well, she's off Hickory Ridge. She doesn't care.
What's that?